Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to another episode on the Coin King channel. Hanging out with your girl down the Crypto TA, your weekly host here. Kicking things off with Bitcoin, of course. Looks like we got a little bit of a pump right here. So on Friday, I mentioned that we were probably there, somewhere between where we were now, all the way down here towards where we have the monthly candle. That is what I was actually looking at that day. We did one sweep down here off of our coiling range in here. I kind of figured that they were going to do like another sweep in here, um, and we didn't get that. So I posted on, I think it was Sunday morning, may have been Sunday morning. I posted that there were like three scenarios that could be potentially building up in here. And the first one was going to be another sweep of this low before they sent it back up just to fuel the move up. I didn't feel like this one sweep was going to do it because we were still just kind of straggling around in here. And even still, we might have a little, we might have a retracement in here. We did leave a huge CME gap in play here. So we'll take a look at that. Also, just getting back above the X here, which is also where the start of our mother candle is at right here. So that was another thing I said through the week. We still had a couple of days. It's brutal because the weekly 20 SMA was still sitting up to the upside. And when we fell below it, they had until Sunday to kind of reclaim this. So we did get back above it. You can see we've been bouncing off of it a little bit in here. We could, like I said, get pushed back below it simply because we did leave that CME gap here on the chart. And just take a look at that real quick. So we have this huge gap right in here. And this is on the 15-minute time frame. But we do have this big gap in here that the market will love to come back for, I'm sure of it. It just depends on how fast we're getting back to it. That's going to be the next thing, just how fast we're getting back to it. All right, so the next scenario for me was going to be possibly coming down here to the 382. That's something that was noticed with a lot of the altcoins when they did retrace. You can see the bounces coming from the 382 zone, so they were holding at 382. So I figured, well, maybe Bitcoin would come down and try to hold this 382 here too. If we did get the move down, that would be the measured move. If we didn't just sweep here, but we ran, it would be to here. And the one to the top side is here, of course. And yeah, this is what we're looking at on Friday right here. Just this in here. So we'll see how we do with holding that 111,688.64 off the Binance chart here. We'll see how we do with holding that if we don't get, pushed back under to fill in the gap and they do send it back down. I probably would have to, well, I guess this could still be used. I just have to take out the theory of the confluence down here, which is going to be the weekly average range low down here, along with the measured move in the 382. So I just wouldn't have that theory anymore. Yeah, that would be the only thing. So I just have to remap. And then, of course, the worst case scenario is going to be coming down to the golden pocket, which is going to be this one here. And I did move this one up. I had it slightly down below, but as this continues to push up, I did need to move it up. So this, of course, is I'm on a daily chart, but I'm using some higher time frame security here for this 60 EMA here, because we've come into the 60 EMA quite a bit here, and Bitcoin tends to love that. So we didn't take the liquidity down here, of course, and right now we're currently holding a low, but we're hitting our neckline again. An area that we've had some strong resistance at. So we're just back at this. Let me stretch that out a little bit. So yeah, this is a trouble zone right here. So again, with that gap sitting down there, potentially, and I mean it's false move Monday, we could see this price coming back down, possibly even rejecting off of here. So if there was a place to get short, that's probably it right there. It's probably where you want to get short if you're looking to get short on Bitcoin. It was something I was about to look at here. Let's go over here. So you can see how they reclaimed us back above. here, back above that 20 SMA. But all of this right here, you can see that the posturing here is still really, really good. But by the time this happens too, you probably wouldn't even notice it. But you can see here with our 60 EMA, how we've come into our 60 EMA. And then that would quite naturally with the golden pocket potentially be the next move would be down into that. And then if I push us out here, you can see how much we interact with that 60 EMA. And when we lose that, it's over, especially when we lose the 20 SMA here on the weekly time frame. That's typically where we start to see more downside. So that 20 SMA is important. It is important. So once that's gone, I'm looking at that 60 again. So that's the main thing for me when we lose that. What happens next? Again, I do lean heavily towards this 60 EMA on the weekly with that golden pocket. It just makes sense to me. All right. I did, in case you didn't notice, I did adjust my 4-hour levels. I updated them to the newest information. And so it's a few of them not here anymore because they were no longer relevant. We didn't have the chop in here anymore. We had gaps now. And so the data changed, and so those zones changed to accommodate for the new information along with the gaps in here. So that's what you're seeing there. Take a look at Ethereum. ETH, again, like I said, when you look at your fib retracement, and I'm just going to turn it on to where you can actually see what your levels are. So the 382 has been the common drop zone for most of these altcoins as far as I can tell. And when I look, let me put this on a daily. When I look here on the daily, and let me just put on your 0 and your 1 so you can see how that's being drawn. So that's from this absolute low down here, pulled all the way to the top up here. That's your 382 right there. And that's where you're going to see a lot of your altcoins actually got to bounce from. And so that way you're not getting confused about golden pocket 786, am I going to hit the 786 next? Because I know I'm past the golden pocket. You didn't have to worry about that if you just changed the way you were viewing your fib retracement level. And I still have these zones in here that I will be looking at for Ethereum, because there is some confluence going down through here for that. ETH, I'm going to tell you, I really wasn't absolute. We had this coiling range in here for Ethereum right here. And we just happened to get the break to the upside. But yeah, I kind of figured if everything was holding the 382, then it would be some sort of a continuation move up. This is the measured move here. So we should, hopefully it plays out fully and Ethereum comes up into here. But Ethereum was one of those altcoins as well where I mentioned ETH was not dropping below the 20 SMA. A lot of them were not dropping their weekly 20 SMA, and Ethereum was one of those too, was an exception to that. And take a look at Solana here. And why am I not seeing? Okay, here we go. Take a look at Solana again. 382. So that's across the board, 382. And I do have some levels in here, 4-hour levels, just trying to kind of see how these are going to work for it. Because I don't typically use those. I usually just go with the weekly on Solana because it's such a cookie cutter chart. I got a couple of up here. And I have what's going to be down between this level and here. And then of course I have what's going to be a little bit lower. So our red zone down here, just when we get into our weekly levels where I think that price might have a reaction at, is all I'm simply looking for with these 4-hour levels in here, just to see if I'm going to start using these on Solana, at least on the 4-hour chart, the hours, hour charts here. And so far that seems to be okay. So you could see a rejection here. So maybe it comes up here and hits that 217.81 within this pocket. If it gets past here, then I just start to look up and out. But I start to look at 227 and then possibly coming into these if it does push up past here. But right now, I'm going to lean towards getting that CME gap fill. Yeah. Now the big ones right now. Let's see. Did enter hype on Friday. If you were here, I entered into a hype position, and you have what potentially could be an inverse head and shoulder in here. So I'm gonna lean towards the two patterns. I'm not just gonna focus on the one. Again, what could be a potential inverse head and shoulder, or what could also be some sort of a rising formation over here. I can see we're trying to break it a little bit right in there because I'm not on the actual candle chart. I'm on the line chart in here. So I'm not going to really focus on that now. I did move my stop loss up. I TP'd twice on this position, and I moved my stop loss up to here, guys. I moved it up to here, and the market came back, stopped me out, and then it V-shaped recovered back up. And I saw the recovery happening, but I was like, it just doesn't look legit. And that's why I did not re-enter. I was like, it doesn't look legit. But I did walk away with 2 TPs, and then I got stopped out with the additional profits in here. So I'm okay with that. I did open up an Aster position in here, and as you can see, Aster has this nice little pizza in here that it has been attempting to break out of. It is possibly hitting not the biggest. Actually, I turned it off because I'm not keen on it, which is going to be the point of control in here. So I just do it just for the sake of this. Looks like it might have gotten above it now. Okay, nope. So there it is. It is just hitting that point of control right here, which is in line with the top side of the I think these are 1 hour ranges, because we don't really have enough data to draw out 4-hour ranges. So I'm having to deal with 1 hour here for Aster, and you can see that it is hitting that point of control in here. Once it can muscle that, then I'm pretty sure it has a nice measure move in here. If I take it off of the line chart, I'm going to draw it off of the line chart. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just going to do it from the center. All right, so back up here to take out the high. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. So I am in the Aster position. I just hide that and keep that on the chart here. But I know that if Bitcoin comes back, then, I could expect that for Aster as well. All right, taking a look here at our total 2. Boy, did this not slap, right? I added some extra levels in here. You won't see those extra levels from the post that I did. Just updating, hey, all of this played out. We hit, we won, like, nice call out. Pat myself on the back a little bit. But new range in here, which is basically what Ethereum looked like, right? This was the thing right here. We swept this top. Usually when you sweep in your top, you're going for your low. It didn't do that. So that was my bit of confusion, was that we swept the top. which for me is fuel to take the move down. But when Bitcoin got the bounce, then yeah, it just went ahead and broke through. And this is supposed to be the measured target right here. Up and then the measured target down. So I figured, okay, we swept. We'll probably come down here and hit this golden pocket since that measure move does bring it down here. But we're doing something different right now. We just keep this in mind. But I just added some additional 4-hour levels in here for the total SU market cap. I'm just sitting here thinking somebody sees an inverse head and shoulder. Not me. Even if it does reverse it, it just doesn't give me that energy. So when you exit and close outside of a range, you do not want to come back inside of it. If you see price coming back in, you got some problems. So you don't want to see this coming back in, which that could, potentially happen again. Just focusing on that CME gap a little bit. That could happen. Plus, we're at that major resistance. So again, if you were looking to get short, and you already know I'm not, you could hedge. I'm just not gonna get short. But if you were, that's probably the place to do it from. That resistance right there. Since I updated, let me see if I have all of my stuff in here. Okay, yeah. All right, so USDT dominance did come into a little bit of resistance in here. And I think this is, let me see what this is. Yeah, it's a 60. Let me change the color on this. I don't know why that is that color, because it shouldn't be. I usually put that on this one. I put that on the 200. All right, so you can see the resistance, 60 EMA here. And let me see what time frame this is. No, this is the, let me make sure I'm using the right. Yeah, that's from the 1 month. So it's the 1 month 60 EMA. That price pushed into, that you're seeing a little bit of a rejection off of right here for total 2. And I take it to the 1 month, it'll look totally different. So you can see what that looks like. Totally different. Daily. But that's what we're hitting right here. And I don't guess this really matters much anymore unless, we drop more and come back and retest it or something like that. But we do have a little bit of a break right now. We come back up and we get above this. I need to really look at that. In fact, while I'm here, it looks like it doesn't get any higher than the 60. Yeah, 200 doesn't show up over here. I'm just making sure those colors are right. Okay. So yeah, 60 is about the highest you're going to get off of that daily. That monthly time frame. Let me just see a little bit more in here. Could also say 10 down, stay, and then the 5 right in there. And you know what? Because these two don't look like they're gonna cross, we probably will see more upside here. It doesn't look like it's gonna cross. It's a nice spread right here on this monthly time frame. We can still chop, 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 but this doesn't look like this is going to stay down here though. Looks like it's going to break it and push up above it. Like absolutely no cross or anything like that. So that's something to be mindful of. I'll look back at that one. Actually, I'll just leave it on and look back at it. Let me see something over here, if it has any consistency in here. Not really. That's actually the deepest it's ever pulled in, right? Pulled back, corrected. I'm sorry. Let me say it like that. That's the deepest correction it's had here, dealing with this this indicator and the dynamic cloud here. So yeah, it's never really expanded before, and it did that go round because of course the macro trend line in here, which just taking the first point, that one, and then this one, instead of trying to connect them all, because if you're trying to connect all of them, then it's going to look like you keep breaking it, and you're actually not. You're not really breaking this thing right here. You're not really breaking it. So let's just enjoy the moment, because this could be a while. Yep, this could be a while. All right, let me look back on the daily with this. I guess we'll look for 5.09% if we do manage to, to get back above here, or whatever moment we do get back above here, because I do believe we'll get back above it. But whatever moment that happens at, this is still an inverse head and shoulders right now. I'm just trying to see how much of a worry we have, guys. I am so sorry. Huh. Anyway, I'll leave that alone. All right. Stablecoin dominance. All stablecoins here. This isn't going to tell me any more than I was just looking at with USDT dominance. So let me just move on past that. Bitcoin dominance here. Still chopping about around that 20 SMA. So really nothing there either. Not as long as it's still chopping around there. And why is my stuff not showing up? Okay. I don't know. Huh. Attempting to reject around this 20 SMA though, so not really, if I zoom out on the weekly chart, we're not really getting above it. So I guess that'd be the chart for us to really watch And then, of course, this is Ethereum dominance here. I haven't updated anything over here on Ethereum dominance. I probably need to. Yeah, that does actually look more like an inverse head and shoulder than the other one, but we'll see. The thing that we were discussing, this is a 4-hour time frame here too. Let me see that weekly. I don't think I have anything new here to really get into. Not okay. Monthly dominance still looks really good. Still looks really good. So we basically just hit this right here. Well, I'll be dang, huh? Basically hit this. And that's it. And this still looks good. And that was still the breakout from the expansion. It's just the Bollinger situation over here for me. Right. Oh, this is no, it's not. No, it's not. This has nothing to do with it. I'm thinking about Ethereum's chart as a whole. The alt, Ethereum, not the dominance. So yeah, I mean, dominance for Ethereum still looks nice. It looks really good. And just a minor correction or reaction off of a resistance level in here, and this thing look like it's going to continue again back here at 2020. This was the last time it lit up like a Christmas tree, and it had a nice explosive move up, and then once again here we are, 2025, lighting up like a Christmas tree, and we've already started the expansion phase. A little bit of a kickback, so slightly below the 20 SMA here on the monthly time frame, but did start that expansion nonetheless. Let me see here. I don't know how important dominance is to anyone, to be honest, but it does speak volume to a lot of things. No actual squeeze here on the Bollinger Band itself. Not the chart Bollinger, no expansion. So that would just tell me that any move we got up probably would be weak until we do start to see some tightening here on the bands itself from here. The move would be weak. So you get some weak highs. Like I said, slightly below that 20 SMA over here. Yeah, this is just going to be weak highs, unfortunately. But that was looking juicy now, but you will get weak highs. Let me put this on the daily because it just looks like a lot to take in. Drop that. All right. I'll use this one. Take a look at Solana dominance while I'm here. Look at Sol versus ETH. Basically looking the same right now. And you do know that we have some tightening from the Bollinger percent. We have some tightening. That's why we have the coloring in here. I don't know if it's this one. Yeah. So, we have that tightening in here. It looks good though. Looks good. And versus Bitcoin right now is looking really good. Minus the fact that we hit that little bit of resistance in here. And so we are holding this momentum line in here. So we're not actually breaking momentum just yet. When we do break momentum, then we'll be looking for Solana to be a lot weaker against Biddy. Probably all the way back down here into this zone right here. But right now it is holding this momentum joining here. So once that's gone, if we do lose it to the downside, yeah, you can see that extra I mean to say resistance, but weakness coming from coming from Solana. BNB, I'm not sure if that one changed much at all. I forget, I can't see BNB from here. So let me put this back on my stable coin and back on the 4. Let's see BNB from here. Coiling, of course, and I did not turn on what those measured moves would be. But let's get those in here. Up and down. But nonetheless, was at that resistance. Looked like it's doing like some sort of a symmetrical triangle to just continue up. So BNB not looking shabby. Put that back on Ethereum. I thought I did. Okay, yeah, put that back on E. All right, so back over here to Biddy. Yeah, and that number again, or this resistance level here again, is 112,546.35 here off of the Binance chart. Yeah, and we are pinched between that resistance and trying to hold this 20 as support with that gap. Yeah. I deleted, let's see, let me make sure I did. I need to come in here and delete some things. I did delete that daily, the one that we broke down from, but it doesn't make sense to even try to go back and look at it anyway. All right, we got a little green in here. Let me drop. And because the range that we were consolidating in came from the 4-hour time frame, it's your 4-hour you want to watch and make sure you don't get a closure back in here. Yeah, you really don't want to be coming back in. I mean, I can see that we've come back into it twice already, and little small wicks here, but you really don't want to return back inside this zone. You really don't. All right, let's see. You probably want to know what this on a 4-hour. You take a look at some of the alts here real quick. Let's see what XRP is doing. Not much. All right, so altcoins really aren't doing much. I mean, XRP still in this weekly range zone right here. So again, I mean, it can continue to bounce off of the low, break and reclaim into the low down here. But again, once that's done, I mean, there's no update to the alts as far as I can see right now. 260, 238 to the downside, or breaking the 302, and then I don't think that's in the cards right now. Maybe just maybe just coming back up here above VWAP and I don't really see anything that's really interesting. Let me put it on there. Not really. That is a real trend line. Huh. I mean, there's really nothing here. I guess you'll be looking for that to break to the upside. And then maybe I guess I could say I'm continuing to look for this 345 to be a target. If it gets back above here, which, I mean, even if you just eliminate this trend line 302, it has to be able to flip that 302 to get a move, to even say that this could potentially be what's going to happen. But being that XRP is such a cookie cutter chart, yeah, I mean, that would be it to the upside. The next move would, to the upside. So pretty basic. As far as the indicators are concerned, it looks good. As far as the daily indicators go, XRP looks good. So Crow holding the little trend line in here in the golden pocket. Crow is a wild one, so I'm not gonna do Crow. Take a look at our Sui in here right now. So this is where we were last, revisiting that golden pocket 786 zone. And me saying, I still believe that, it is very possible. All things are possible, right? That Sui can retrace a lot more. When Sui starts to sell, it starts to sell. Like it really sells. When it pumps, it pumps. It has two speeds, or two gears, really pumping or really falling. That's it. There's no in between. So when the falling starts, it's just really falling, and that's it. I've never seen an additional speed to no in between for Sui. So, but it does look. We already have this. I think we have this marked out on. I think we have this marked out already, but in case I don't, I will do it here on this chart. I think I might have this on a different pane. Let's see. And I'm going to take these away. They're distracting me right now. I might need to update these anyway. So I just take those away. Yeah, and then we'll just check back. On Sui, that looks pretty decent. So no actual squeeze inside this thing, but you can see the validation with the Bollinger Band itself. Like it's just flat. It's flat. This is about the only spot that you may have seen some sort of a small little expansion. That was very, very, very tiny. We're turning that up. No squeezes in here, which means weak highs, weak lows, both weak highs, weak lows. And it does validate that there is some sort of a channel, something like that within here. And we pretty flat. It's pretty flat. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to take some time on this one. The read is gonna have to come from the higher than daily. I think I was looking at the weekly time frame in here for SUI. Let me try it from this one. Yeah. So I did already have the pattern in here. Except I drew it off of the 4-hour instead of the I drew it off of the 4-hour instead of the daily. So now I have it measured for the daily. And since we didn't break that, let me adjust it in here. And yeah, the thing about SUI was the weekly highlighted resistance was here. So we went over this a few times, but the weekly highlighted resistance was there and that resistance was here. Except when price came up, this one, it didn't hesitate to break it. And then it came back and used it as support instead. So that ended up being what the situation was over here with these two lines you're looking at in here. And when push came to shove, I kept saying if SUI comes up above this right here, I'd short it. But I didn't short it, of course. And yeah, it is building out some sort of a flag. But I still suggest if you're going to do SUI, then do SUI spot. And it's not financial advice. You can make whatever decisions you want to make. For me personally, I'm into SUI long, but I'm long in SUI on spot. So if it does do one of these right here, then I have my points in which I will be looking to buy it, and then that's it. That's it. But right now, I don't have a good read on the daily just yet. Other than the fact that if it does come back up again, the highs will be weak. Coming down, the lows look like they're weak as well. Until something changes in here where I can read it better, then that's going to be what that is. I got nothing. I'll put this back on Ethereum. All right. Back on the 4. Alright, so BNB did reclaim back above that trend line right there. How about that? I did, because I measured out the trend line here for what I thought that it could do if it did break down. It obviously pushed back up above this trend line in here now after breaking this descending one. Okay, so we're here now. We'll see if it comes back down. Maybe it holds this momentum line. If it doesn't, then I'd be looking for a back test here on the break here. And then that could ultimately give it some sort of an inverse. That could. And BNB continues onwards and upwards. Let's take a look at ADA. VWAP. Yeah, back into VWAP, but it looks like 4-hour did flip market structure over here. A little bit of something in here, so that's good. For Cardano, looks like you had a squeeze. That's good. 4-hour time frame so far looks pretty good here on ADA. It looks pretty good. I was looking to see how bad bear divs were in here. Not really major. I mean, I know that we're not above this high over here. That's extended divergence right there, as opposed to the one that's here, because you're not diverging there. And it squeezed for a minute too before it finally did get this little break and push to the upside. Let's see if there's anything here with the... Yeah, so you literally did have an actual squeeze over here on ADA, which is nice to see, because you know you really have something to work with. Ideally, you want to stay in here. You want to stay in the pocket. If you're outside of the 2, that's great. That means it's a really strong move for ADA. Being that it happened over the weekend, I don't know what the validity of the strength is going to be here for it, but you do want to stay in between this 1 and 2. You want to stay in here and continue up, or be outside of 2. You want one of those 2 to be the case in here for ADA. But that was a nice coiling and then break, because I think that we were looking at, if it broke, then we want to make sure that we reached above here, but you can see it didn't even come that far before it rejected off the 20 SMA in here. I probably could have dropped that down and made it make more sense, but I didn't. So I failed you. I failed you. Yeah, I don't like when we break out of a squeeze and we and lose this immediately. So I like this so far for ADA. It looks good. It looks good, people. It looks good until it does start to lose that. Then you're probably looking at it come back down and hit the 78, which would be challenging. So hopefully it stays in there. And we've already looked at height, and of course it is getting a rejection off of that line. This stuff be looking tricky. This is how people nerves get wrecked in trading, because you see it breaking the line and you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You see it coming back in, oh my gosh. Yeah. And so far, I know it's a major resistance right in here. It is some good resistance right in here for Hyperliquid. So again, we'll see which one plays out. We've seen this narrative before in the opposite, but we've seen like a head and shoulder, and then on the other end we could see potentially a falling wedge or a falling channel. And so now they're just doing it to the downside. Now they're doing it with the inverse head and shoulder, where it starts to look a bit extended and not up. It's not it's not what if you look at your body, unless you have some issues or something like that, then you wouldn't keep extending your shoulder out like that, right? Your body, I don't know. I'm trying to say this right. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm probably not. It's just it's diagonal. It's diagonal. It's too diagonal. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here with Hyperliquid. But that's too diagonal. Take a look. See at pump. All of this orange is so bright, isn't it? I need to change this. I have not updated the levels here for Hyperliquid, and I mean for pump. And I think that these are all coming from 1 hour. So I do need to go in and update these. Golden pocket, nonetheless. It broke this trend line. I don't care how you draw it. If I draw it like this, it broke it earlier. If I draw it off of the line, which is what I chose to do just to make sure, then it still broke it. And then, yeah. I guess we'll see if we can get a head and shoulder here out of pump. You did have that squeeze and break to the upside in here into off of that golden pocket. You could also see this looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't have a reason to complain unless the MACD rolls over, but right now this looks fine. Even with the pullback, like I said, you could actually get an inverse head and shoulders off of this one right here, and then we'll look to see if this actually plays out. I really don't feel like drawing these out. I'm gonna draw that one out and I'm gonna leave that alone. So that's what I would be looking for here for pump. And of course, if it comes back up, you will hit some resistance in here at 67. Right in here, you're gonna hit some resistance, and then of course, if you can get through that, I mean, the structure will have changed a bit in here, and you just be looking to come up in here because that'll be your next area of resistance in here. So with these highs and these lows in here around 77, so I mean that's pretty basic. To the downside, you really don't have a lot until you get down here to around 40, so 0.004. But I think you'll probably end up holding somewhere in here, even if you have to drop in a little bit more. As long as you're holding these highs in here, then you should be fine. And that still would constitute an inverse head and shoulder here for pump. Let me make sure there was no divergence, and there was. Yep. But that, I mean, that can lead into what I'm saying. Still can lead into the inverse head and shoulder, but big bear div right there, big bear div right here against these highs. So I see why we're rolling back down. But overall, this still looks fine. And when I look at, I'm gonna take this away because we've done those two breaks. I don't think that they're necessary. Yeah, you just got the squeeze breakout too. Just got that squeeze and that breakout. Were we coiling? We weren't coiling on this. No, we didn't. We never. It never squeezed in enough in here to light it up. But you can see the situation in here, and then with the breakout right there. The breakout right there. You had the first break here and then the actual Bollinger break here. So I guess I would say this again, like Cardano, you really do want to hold between your standard deviation 1 and 2. Outside, you're super strong. Inside, you're still within the bullish control zone. Outside of standard deviation 1, you know, you're at risk of coming back to revisit your 20 SMA. I think that that's kind of steep in my opinion. I really don't like to see that happen as quickly, especially when you get a nice little breakout. You want to just see that continuation of it. So you want to see, like it did it over here. No lie. It didn't come all the way back into the 20 SMA, but it did do it over here where, you know, you started your initial move out. You're outside of your standard deviation 2. You know, you come back into your 1 and 2, and you really want to hold that 1 and 2 or stay outside of 2, just like this. So not saying that it doesn't work. It just makes me a little nervous when it does that. But this did just start. So, I mean, this can be a beautiful thing if you are in pump. I mean, the indicators look fine to me. They look fine to me. They're all positive, with the one exception of this little sell-off in here. But they all look positive to me. So, yeah. That might be what you need. Let me see if anything like that. See, I like for it to just stay its behind in there. Just stay in there. Just stay. All right. So pump looks fine. Pendle, I haven't looked at in a bit. It looks like it has bear deals for sure. It's not bad. It's not shabby. Okay. So I guess Pendle looks fine too. So far, we have a few of them that do look really nice. Bitcoin to be another situation with how they behave, though. Not much has really changed over here for H bar. I can delete this now. This was just our double top, and I measured move for our double top, put us down here at this one. We had already looked at this. It's been sitting here for a little bit now, so we already looked at that. Everything basically had that situation going on. Nothing special to write home about down in here, as far as I can see. MACD still below the zero line, so if H bar does start to roll down, then we just have to look down here at 19. Potentially, so it did coil right here, but pair divs, no pair div. Bit of a V-shaped recovery there. I don't know. Alts are starting to look pretty decent in here. I don't know what to make of this. As long as it's above the 20 SMA, I would just look for it to continue to push its way back up here a bit. Need to get back above your little VWAP in here. If you're big on VWAPs, you need to get back above the VWAP. I use it from time to time on some of these higher time frame charts, but yeah, for the higher time frame, like the weekly, I like the VWAP. Otherwise, I don't. Not for low time frame missions. For high time frames, sure. Weekly, monthly, great. Below that, just a moving average is going to work way better in my opinion. I mean, that's a moving average too, but just your SMA, EMA, HMA. My personal one is DTCMA. Yeah, it's a lot of moving averages that are gonna work better than that one on the lower time frame. So, I mean, you saw the Bollinger. Wasn't anything particularly special in here, in my opinion. I don't like how relaxed that is. I mean, that spelled the weak high. See how it didn't? It's not turned up. When you make a higher high, like it should at least be turned up. Saying how when you make this lower low in here, it's actually turned down. So I don't like that. So, I mean, I don't like that. But I'm holding. It's one I did not sell and I'm holding spot. All right. Can we get there? We'll see. For Floki. I would say the weekend just kind of messed all of this up. I mean, this was some, yeah, the weekend just kind of messed all this up. The measure move could still be a thing, and I wouldn't stop it out there. I would look for it to come back down here into this trend line if that's going to happen here. Um, yeah. The RSI, on the surface, it looks fine, but then you have this bear div in here. So you do have bear divs in here for it. So that additional drop down and then a pump should be coming in here for Floki. I'm gonna take a look at Chainlink and I'm gonna get back over to, I mean, Bitcoin is holding up. It's still holding up, but that big gap on Bitcoin on that 8-hour time frame, that is not going to hold. That is not going to hold. I'm telling you right now, that looks terrible. I'm sitting here looking at it on my other screen and it looks awful. It is not how you move. It is not how you move when you want to sustain. And it's a bear div. And we have that gap and we're at resistance. Do with that information what you will. I know I'm not shorting, even though I know how to catch the short. I'm not in the, not shorting. But it is definitely a short from that resistance. I'm telling you, that is a short. All right, so let me just look at this real quick. I mean, at the end of the day, Bitcoin comes back. These could come back too. So Chainlink actually did not break back into this trend line, which is awkward. It is awkward. You do still have this channel though, here for Chainlink. You do still have the channel. It's not a flag before anyone starts thinking that it is a flag and you're drawing out this whole long pole right here and you're putting it in here and you're saying, okay, we're coming up here. Not saying that Chainlink can't get up there. I'm just saying that this is not a flag. You can only extend out so far to validate what's considered to be a flag. And this is not a flag. This is a channel. I mean, if it does reject from here as it already is, then I would just look for it to come back into the daily level in here. Let's see if we can continue to hold the low in here, if that connection point is actually a low or a place of support for it. If not, then I mean, that is solid. This is your very solid zone right here. And then your next one is going to be down here around your 1815 in here for Chainlink. And to your upside, ultimately, I would like to see Chainlink come up and hit this zone in here next, if that happens. But right now, this doesn't look like it's ready. Daily time frame doesn't look like it's ready. You might get a little bit more downside here for Chainlink. That is my opinion. Maybe some more downside. I mean, you can convince yourself that this is an inverse head and shoulder, but again, that Bitcoin chart, it looks like it's going to pull back. I can be wrong. Thinking we did all that work to recover that 20 SMA on that weekly, just to drop below it again. But again, we are at resistance in here. We know that. We do have that CME gap. We know that. And it's false move Monday. And then just when I look at the 12-hour, no, 8-hour. I just look at the 8-hour. And that's starting to look pretty good, actually. This part right here is. That is. And of course, we had the coiling for the range breakup, and then the MACD and Delta might be all right. But when I look at this doesn't make sense. This huge space between these two. If Bitcoin loses this, you're going to get as fast a move down as you got up. And there's nothing in between here. Like just that gap, same way you gap back up, you gap back down. I don't like that. Let me see if there's another time in here where it's looked that garbagey. And it could be because of all the coiling that we were sitting there doing too. I don't know if this is a good example of that or not. It did push up really good when it did it in here. I don't like that, guys. No, I don't like that. But anyway, and the bear div. So, I mean, and the bear div. So just be safe with your positions and stop losses and all that good stuff, because that just doesn't look right. All right. Do we have any news today? What we have going on this week? All right, so we do have a little something in here. We have pending home sales, and then we have our president, Trump, speaking. Speaking of which, he did make a comment on X. It was, let me see what day was. He tweets so much, I probably wouldn't be able to find him. Find that tweet. He was calling Bitcoin something, the new oil, or something like that. That's what he goes on to say about it. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to go back through and find that. I should have flagged it, but I didn't. Should have bookmarked it or something. I didn't. But yeah, he goes in to call Bitcoin new oil. versus calling it gold. He called it oil. So we do have that pending home sales, and then our president is going to be speaking today. And you can see the time on that, 10 and 1:15 today. What else do we got? Jolt's job openings at 10 on Tuesday. It's going to be a big one. And consumer confidence also. Okay, we got some non-farm employment change again. So ADP on Wednesday and ISM. Thursday, unemployment claims. Friday, earnings, employment change, employment rate, unemployment rate, and ISM. So we got a lot happening this week. Let's see what the sentiment turns out to be around that, as we do know that they're going back and forth over whether or not we're going to get this additional interest rate cut, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. Just trying to get us over here on bubbles, see what that looks like. So lots of green across the board here. Aster up 13.9%. One of the bigger movers of the day. MYX, another one. This one continues to outdo itself, 25.5%, and pump at that 11.3%. I stopped playing with pump, but I really do like pump. Hype 7.8%, which we did see. Athena, look at Athena, 9.1%. Let's see, cash. Yes, it is 17.8%. So that's nice. Arrow 5.8. Okay, so we got some nice little movers in here. See what we're looking like in the past hour. NYX and Athena continue to look pretty decent in here in the hour, which makes me want to come over here and check my Aster position. Now, I was looking really juicy on Aster. So I actually entered Aster and Hyperliquid both at the same time, I think, at the same time on Friday. And we just started having a bit of a struggle in here on Aster. So I got stopped out of that position, and then I reopened. I did reopen that one because I could see it. It made sense to me on that one to get back in. It just didn't make sense to me to get back into Hyperliquid. So on my Aster, I'm up about 44. Yeah, 45% up on that one. So I re-entered. It may have been the candle through here. I think it was because, I got stopped out, and then I re-entered right in here off of this candle. Yeah, I re-entered off of this. Yep, off of this candle right here. So I re-entered because when I took the Aster position, I didn't pay attention to the indicators. I didn't feel like doing that anyway. And they be there to tell you to wait, right? But sometimes, yeah. So that goes to show you a lot of times I don't even use them. I just choose to jump in when I want to jump in. So I had to DCA is what I was doing on that position. I was DCAing into Aster at that time. And then I was in some really, really nice profits because I was DCAing, I was putting in way more money than I would normally put into a trade. And I just ended up getting stopped out. So that was that. So it was a bigger win for me with the extra capital. When I entered here, I entered based off the indicator. Based off the indicator saying momentum shifted, and I could see the support. So I entered here off of that. And again, when I do it like that, I don't use as much money. But nonetheless, it doesn't take a lot of movement for this one right here to be nice and kind to you. So I am up on this one. I will be looking back at hype though, because I think we did a lot in here we did a lot in here. So on that hype, let me switch. I think I took it off of this main account right here. Yeah, so with Hyperliquid, it was like that was the first TP right there. So that was my first TP right there, which wasn't much, but I like to minimize my risk as fast as I can. And then this was the second TP, and you can see the entry price is the same. That was the second TP right there. And then this is the one that stopped me out right here. So this is where I get stopped out. Like I said, price came back down and took out this low right here. This low right here, 43. And that stopped me out. And then the V-shape recovered back up. And I was like, oh, I hate you. No. It's like it just didn't look right. So I didn't bother to re-enter on it. But I did, Friday on live. Like, okay, I'm getting into this. I'm getting into hype, taking it along. We're just doing this way too much. Way too much green through here. 382. With all things, like everything else I was saying, everything was hitting that 3. Well, most stuff was following that 382. So it's like, yep, go for it. Boy, it didn't near fall back in. Yes, it did. Cost still not catching a break because Cost keeps putting in the bear divs. And so essentially, well, you would have been looking at this mean reversion on it. Because it did just do a mean reversion, but it did it with the freaking bear div again. Maybe it holds though. Maybe it holds this time for costs. So 4. No. Okay, yeah. So that's the thing that we were looking at. So zooming out, I want to see a mean reversion on your daily time frame because your 4-hour keeps giving you bear divs for costs. You're just continuing to get those bear divs. And of course, you're hitting this resistance now because it used to be some excellent support. Now resistance and measure move. Oh, it's right here. I just couldn't see it because of this fib. Because of that fib, which I probably need to change. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Don't like me not to like it. Well, that's the power of a rounding top. And I was saying that all back through here. This thing is rounding. It's rounding. It's rounding. And it happens so slow that you don't know you're getting sold off on. But you just keep seeing this happen. But you're rounding. It's like a crown. You call it Bart Simpson. It's the fall of an empire. So yeah, you want to see a mean reversion take place here on the daily time frame. So I would zoom out and stay off of anything below this until you can see how you do with your mean reversion here. Whichever indicator you're using, whether it be RSI or whatever, it's close enough to be valid for a mean reversion to say you've probably broken the spell. This, or you just take your chances down here as close as you can get to the low of your triangle. Well, oh, this is a weekly time frame. I won't put you out that far. My bad. Don't want to put you out that far. Yeah. So you did a mean reversion right here. You weren't getting any bear divs in there either. It's your last bear div came from here. So you did get bearish divergence across there. No bull div. No bullish divergence. And it looks like it might just continue to roll over, to be honest. But maybe that will. Anyway, I think that's going to do it. There's really not much to get into over here on Bitcoin. Again, like I said, you have the CME gap that it put in over here. You are at resistance. That's clear. Price is at resistance when it comes into this trend line right here at resistance. When we made this move right here, I didn't see it as a problem. I didn't see it as something that we couldn't get past. Right now I do, just simply based on that 8 hour time frame just suggests, and the bear div in here all suggest that, with the CME gap and all that good stuff. I mean, we did reclaim the 20. That's the good thing, but I mean, and I put what I'm saying for the positive against the negative. The negative outweighs the positive right now. Right now. So I'm still going to be looking for longs. So I am not bearish. I will continue to look at longs, but I'm currently not in a Bitcoin long position. And I probably won't do so until, again, you have to take this off the table now, because we've broken out of it and above it, and we're holding it, but we're hitting that resistance. So I have to take that theory off the table that we would sweep here and then get a go. Because if we'd have did that, I would have likely jumped into the Bitcoin long just for that extra sweep in here. I will still get interested if we come down into here, and then again, of course, the ultimate challenge would be this one down here. Okay, that'll be the one right there. So otherwise, don't really like this anymore. Maybe we correct, fill the CME gap, and then we hold this level in here around where we have the momentum line at in here, to that 110, 128. We do that, then maybe we can say we got ourselves another inverse head and shoulder. So I could play with that, and then we look for that to break for Bitcoin. Unless, what do we do in here? Ooh, like maybe Shimmy, you don't have that. You don't have it today. You don't have, yeah. You wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just absolutely wrong today. But like I said, yeah, that would make sense too. Maybe we fill that CME gap. Maybe we come back down and we back test the 20 SMA here off of the 4-hour time frame, something like that. Somewhere in between there and to here, what I was just saying. That could be the thing. And then we have an inverse head and shoulder. This is still a squeeze breakout nonetheless. And then it continues up. I would be interested in getting in off of something like that. But in here, I know that we're at that resistance. We have the bear div on it, which again could send it down, give it an inverse head and shoulder. And we have that huge gap on that 8-hour time frame that I do not adore. So that's going to be my base case for Bitcoin. And I will be watching my altcoin position, which the only one I'm in right now. I mean, I'm still holding my OP, but the new one I'm in right now is just going to be Aster. That's the only one that I have at the moment. So if I get stopped out on that one, or something, or maybe I just get to add to it. Maybe that's the case for this one. So that's going to do it for me, peeps. I'll probably get a chance to jump back on later or something like that. But this morning, it's really slow, and there's nothing more for me to cover outside of what I've already said, because I can see this is going to get boring from this point, and we'll just be sitting here and I'll just be jibber jabbering. And I need to get me a little bit more rest so I can get up, get outside, get some exercise, and come back home and chill and hopefully jump back on with you guys. So please make sure you like the stream. And if you're a subscriber, because the Coin King tends to get his subscribers, subscribers tend to show up, and we appreciate that very much. I really appreciate you coming in and hanging out with me. So you will get that alert about me going live, and I'll try to put it around your favorite YouTube content creators, okay? I'll try to do that. But that's what I would watch for Bitcoin. I don't think that there were any notes that you needed to take away from Ethereum. I don't think that there was anything. $15 is trying really hard, which means it's struggling. I can tell you that for Ethereum. And it's probably because Ethereum is sitting right here at this resistance. That's the only thing I could think of right there, is because it's at this resistance right now. So if you look at the 15-minute time frame, you see all of these times that they've popped out these trying to get the momentum to push up. But you're, it hit that resistance. So that's about it. Measured move. I'll look for that. You get past the resistance and you get into that. I will look for that right in here. I know that we had the squeeze in here, but let me make sure the Bollinger did the same thing. Somewhat lazy. I think we did cover that and say it was a little bit weak. Okay, yeah. So I think I did cover that. So other than that, there's really nothing in here that I feel like I need to, to the upside and look in here, get past that resistance. Get past that resistance, but and you're holding your expansion level in here from way back when, and then you have the trend line up here. Otherwise, I'm looking down here at these, but this would no longer be valid once it comes back inside. So I just want to do away with that. I don't see anything new in terms of ranges. I usually do the 1 and the 4, and the 4 hours particularly I love the most, but I don't see anything in here to suggest that we have a new range in here. Anything we don't. So it's False Moves Monday until then. All right. So love you. Thank you. Please remember to hit the like button, and I will see you later today for another quick update.